outline. That's the standard normally here. I'd suggest that. It's not that it's absolute, but it's what we kind of expect. Okay, now, for sure, in the outline, we're only dealing with the body. That means conclusion makes no sense here. Of course there's a conclusion. It doesn't have to be stated, though. And we will announce that when we get to it, and the summary as well. Then we have the basic topic areas. For our purpose, I suggest 3. And why 3? Because if we're doing a 10-minute presentation, and I don't want you to be overburdened, I don't want you to do a long presentation. I mean, we've had a couple people who really do 25 to 30 minutes. I'm not taking anything away from them, but it means more and more. It means it's a lot of work. If you can do a good 10-minute presentation, you can do a good 30-minute presentation. That's my thinking. However, if you do 5 sections in 10 minutes, you're almost without content, because you're announcing and making transition and clicking and waiting so many times that there's hardly anything left to say.
They're very short, but I can do
maybe they could be combined or they can be expanded. Okay? And for each of them you have to have messages to go with them. Okay? And so to make life easier, maybe throw a couple out and work on those others that they are built up. I do like numbering. We need the numbering not so much on this page, but we do need it in the future, because when it's at the head of in the headings of these pages, we need to see that we have orientation as an audience. And we don't have it if it's not with the numbers. You changing the topics, that's great, but I don't know where we're at, yeah, as an audience member. The letters could be larger now. I mean, it's almost the minimum size as I see now. I would say size 24 is about the minimum for good reading. And we've got the opportunity, because we have a lot of space, to go larger.
It's exactly 24. So
Yeah, okay, that's, like I said, that's sort of the limit. And since we have space, let's use it a little bit. Maybe we only have 3, and then there's even more space. 2 more things. If you have subsections, tell us, don't show us. That's your new information. The way you present an introduction, and we will go through that, is you don't just read off a list. Audiences will always expect more than what they see. Always. If you only want to give a list, and you can't do that on this page, but on another page, for example, the ingredients for a cake. I don't want to have to discuss sugar or flour. I don't want to say more about it. I'm just giving you the basics. Then I don't show the list. I just say ingredients. And then I tell the people. What's cool about that is if I forget to say salt, nobody's going to protest. Right? You can forget a detail and they'll be happy customers. Okay. And what new information can you give when you see topics? The purpose of the presentation. Well, the purpose of the presentation normally is given not in the body. Okay, that's given in the title page. It's a 1 sentence or something. It's not much. And maybe the general knowledge could be pre-outline information. Because general knowledge is just kind of like background information, perhaps. So maybe the last 3 are the ones that you want to focus on. I said 2 more things, but I see 3 now. Capitalization. Do you know what I mean by that? Großschreibung? You've given it everywhere. I prefer that to seeing it than nowhere. But take, for example, purpose of the presentation. I would say some should be capitalized, but not all of those words should be capitalized. So which words would you write small?
of the
Right. If they were at the beginning, they have to be. There's a nice book by John Steinbeck called Of Mice and Men. So the of is going to be capitalized, okay? Or the, of course, is as well. The same thing for the next number 3. Otherwise, it's great. Now, you've got this topic, my internship. To me, that has the greatest potential for the narrowing of the topic down to something that doesn't cost you a lot of effort because you know what you did. You don't have to do a lot of research. That's the beautiful thing, because we're not being graded on the content. We're just using that as a vehicle to practice our eyes, our voice, tempo, right? So I would say today we're going to do the practice as if this were the right one. Okay, we're going to do it. But you should go home and write a proposal about my internship. And in your internship, you want to talk about your 3 duties that you had. If you had 5, concentrate on 3. Or organize the 5 into 3. Or if you only did 2, give me a duty that somebody else had, but you worked with that person and you know it. As if it's yours. It doesn't have to be true. I just want to use it. Okay? That I think has the best potential for little work to get there quickly, because we're running out of semester, I know. I'm not trying to create a lot of work. You can always send me this old presentation just for feedback. I mean, we're giving you feedback now, but anything you produce, even if it ends up not being the presentation, I'll be happy to look at it because you've worked on it. Okay? Okay, so I think that covers it now. Let's go on. Okay, now basically, you don't need an extra page. Perhaps you can have one. I'm not saying it's wrong. But this would appear right. Imagine this. Now we come to the topic of my presentation, which is the experiences of Ireland. Click. We get there. What should we do with this page? I mean, the topic page. The topic page, you're not saying who you are. That happened all before that. So what do we do with this page? Typically people don't know. And so now we come to the outline. Nothing happens on that page. That's what happens on that page. You don't have to have an extra page. It'll be why you should be listening to this topic. I have fallen in love with this country, and you should go check it out. It's awesome. It's got so much for you as a tourist or as an employee. Right? Okay, that's how you do this. Good. So you don't need a page necessarily, and you know what you want to say. That's pretty clear. Now let's take a look at this. Why are you writing sentences down? Are you afraid to forget?
Yeah, but I think this is only so long on the first page or on this page. Yeah, maybe because I thought it's very important to show the audience what is the purpose of the presentation.
Okay, remember my question about primacy. Who is the main provider of information? You or the transparencies? Excuse me? Miss Hardman, you've got a voice somewhere. You've got to really start speaking loud.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Who is the primary source of information?
I think it's me.
Okay. We're in a context. The context is English, so we're speaking English. We're in a context. It's presentation. That means you've got to speak louder. Have you got a loud voice for me today?
Yes.
Can you speak louder?
Yes, I can speak louder.
Then do so, as if that's the normal. That's the norm. I'm not trying to embarrass you. We've got to get there. So we're going to start speaking loud because when you get up here, you're going to speak loud. So let's do that now. Good. What we put here is not sentences, no messages, and no details. That comes from us. But I do put something, and I call them keyword topics. Keyword means it's short. But short doesn't mean there are no messages. If I say expensive automobile, or the topic is automobile and I just say expensive, you already know what I'm going to tell you. One word is going to let me know. It's not like automobile. Automobile, of course, that's the topic, but expensive is already a message. So, no sentences, because they are automatically messages. No messages, because they should come from you. And no details. So don't put down Los Angeles 1965. Rather, put down foundation of the company. Then we want to know what the details are. Who was it? Where was it? When? Okay? That's the secret. So whatever you create later, or recreate, topic, no sentence, no messages, no details. Try. It's not easy, but it's a good lesson because it serves the audience well. A topic makes them hungry. If I say the expense of the automobile, well, what is it? Is it expensive or moderately priced or less expensive? I don't know. You have to tell me. I get hungry, and you are there to supply that. That's how this works. The same wording lets you know what to say and lets me get hungry. Okay? Whereas this feeds me, and then I turn to you, and all I hear is the same. That's dysfunctional. Okay, next page. What do we call this? Population 4.6 million. Area 70,000 and so on. What are those? Are those messages? Those are the details. So, I don't want to show the details. I want to supply the details. Now, it doesn't have to be 70.2, yeah. It could just be roughly 70,000 square kilometers. I don't need to go down to nobody needs to know it's 273. Okay? So you supply the details. So I can put down population and area. Those are topics. You could say area in square kilometers. That's fine too. We don't know how much it is. You supply that. Official languages. That again would work as a topic. So a lot of them work as a topic. Especially when you have a double point or an arrow. The rest that comes is the message or the details. You shouldn't put in double points and the rest of the information. You should just put in what's left. Okay? You get it? Okay, and it makes sense because then everybody's hungry and you supply. Okay, next. Next page. You could even do this differently. You have the pictures there. You don't need the text. And then you can ask the audience, what do you know about Ireland? What are your impressions? You can involve them. Yeah? And if they don't give you enough, you can then say, well, what about? You can bring up your own subjects and such things, yeah? But you see, this is, as I said before, more of the background information to your duties. You know, it took place in Ireland, but the focus in that case would not be Ireland, but your duties in Ireland. At the end, you can say how much you loved the place. You were happy to be there. It was a great place to be, and so on. But primarily, the discussion is about what your duties were. The messages for duties is twofold. It's like two sides of a medallion. You know. Two sides of a coin. Why is that duty important to the company? Okay? That you're doing. Or in the context, a smaller context of maybe the operation of a division or something. Why is that important? And the other thing is, what do you have to do effectively so that this becomes good work? It could be important, but you have no clue how to do it. No, that's the two sides. Okay, why is it important and how do you do it effectively? And that would be your message for each of these that you will be dealing with. Okay? Okay, next. So you were in this vicinity? You were somewhere in this vicinity? Is it the northeast? Or mid-east? Southeast?
Yeah, southeast and Ring of Tron.
Okay, looks like it's idyllic. Good. Okay, good. Like I said, most of this probably will disappear because it'll be more focused on your duties. As much as you like the topic, and I like the topic too, I would like to go there someday, yeah, and know it's good. Okay, next. Oh, okay, the same thing. Next again. Okay, again, let's move on. Let's get to your duties. I wanted to see what you're doing there.
So, this was the place where my internship was.
Okay, for sure this would probably be in your pre-outlined information because that's relevant to your work. You see, you can filter the information. Not all of this information about Ireland is relevant to this, but this probably would be. And you're welcome to show us. Okay, next. Okay, this is about Cork. Again, this is all background information. Is there information on your work? What you did?
Yes, so I thought it's good before I started with my internship to tell something general about the city.
Okay.
And yeah, then the pros and cons of my experience of this internship.
So the pros and cons is about the internship or about Ireland or Cork?
About the internship, about the work.
Okay. Then that would be a part of maybe your body sections, maybe towards the end, like section 3. Okay? Is there anything else about the work? What you did?
It was also in this media area, and I think it's very similar to this the new university, what we do here in graphic design.
Okay. Okay, next page. Okay, now this is the summary, basically. We don't call it conclusion, but summary. And it'll be different because then it'll be about your duties. And I've given you some information about how to do that so that you will give that. In the end, of course, you can bring closure and say you recommend people go to Ireland for an internship or maybe for employment. Maybe they could do entry-level position. And that way, kill two birds with one stone. Have a good start to your future career, but also get to know a very warm-hearted country that is beautiful in many ways. Okay, that would be bringing closure to your topic. Okay? Good. Never would you show sentences. You might have key ideas, as we said before, key topics, keyword topics. But pictures do it too, perhaps. Okay, next. Okay, now normally we would have one other page. You can keep this page, but at the bottom of this page you put your contact information. And between the page before and this one, a page only with your contact information. That sounds confusing, but really you should announce the contact information and then show it. If you show this page, then it's doing two things, and you can't do two things at once. You cannot thank the audience and then give the contact information because thanking the audience is saying I'm finished. It's a dilemma. And it's like Katze beißt sich im Schwanz, you can't solve the problem. So the reason by putting the contact information a second time is that anybody who's too slow in writing it down, it's still there. You thought of them. Okay? Okay.
I saw about handouts. I thought maybe it's a good idea to make a travel guide for.
Well, in principle, you don't have to make any effort there. I don't grade these. Some people have done them. I've got a couple here. But virtually, you have one. We practice announcing it, we practice handing it out, because that's a regular feature when you're working with customers or industry or something, okay? But you don't have to make an effort to do that. So just act like you've got one, okay? Okay, now you can put that chair away because I'm afraid you'll kick it or something.